Bora Boye. So today I want to continue our conversation on Orisa lifestyle for beginners with a little chat on conservatism and liberalism. And I want to be clear that I'm not talking about liberals in terms of Democrats and Republicans and left wing or right wing or red states and blue states. None of that. I'm really talking about the psychology, the thinking of liberalism, the thinking of conservatism, particularly given the fact that so many people who are coming into a racial lifestyle today are liberal. Either you went to college or you're in college or you were introduced to the tradition while you were in college. Either way, college really is a liberal environment, and it ought to be. There's some benefits to having liberalism, as a framework for the university and college environment because it brings in all different kinds of people and it creates a space for everybody to come in and exchange ideas. That's how you really learn. But a tradition, not that it's the antithesis of liberalism, but there's certain basic assumptions that a tradition is going to be more upfront about. Like, these are our values, and this is what you're going to have to do to uphold those values, and they're rooted in the past. This is what we did, in the time of our forefathers, and we're going to hold that. We're referring back to this particular time in history, and that's what we want to uphold. I'm oversimplifying it, but that's kind of the characterization of liberalism and conservatism. And it becomes problematic within Orisha lifestyle when you get lots of people who have liberal ideas and liberal habits, and then they get into Orisha lifestyle because it's kind of being presented as an alternative lifestyle. You get into it a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 9 years, 10 years, and then you start running up against these conservative values where people, are telling you that you can and cannot do certain things, or you have to do certain things in a certain way. And what do? Well, then we react to the tradition like it's the Klan or something, and it's not. It has absolutely nothing to do with those things. The reasons why a right winger is going to be conservative are entirely different than the reasons why an elder in Yoruba land is going to be conservative. It's a totally different reality, okay? And so you can't just number one, just react to things without fully understanding what is being presented. But more importantly, before you even get to that point, you need to understand what the values are of Orisha lifestyle, right? What do the elders really believe? What are they trying to uphold? And the better you understand Yoruba culture, Yoruba civilization, and the ways in which it is structured and why it's structured that way, the more clearly you can define your participation. So in other words, you don't have to overcommit to a value system before you really understand what it is. It is conservative. All right, it is conservative. No matter how much people humor you, no matter how much people placate you, no matter how accommodating they are and bringing you in at different levels to do certain things, make no mistake about it. This is a conservative tradition. And let me tell you just one more, concept for examining why it's important that you understand this. Once I saw um, a guy doing karate. It was supposedly a black belt ceremony, and this guy looked like a hamster trying to cut Velveeta cheese with a plastic knife or something. I mean, it, it was embarrassing, right? It was embarrassing, but you know that was his and black belt ceremony. He was the instructor. He was the instructor. Okay, it was but that's the generation of karate. You start looking at things like yoga, and you all you see is yoga, right? The yoga pants. It has nothing to do with yoga, you know, um, and that is a reflection of, quite honestly, that's liberalism at play. Overplaying of liberalism, where people are accommodating. But what happens is that You as the practitioner, even though you may be sincere, if you have mastered the degenerated form that has been set up just to accommodate and placate your, you know, immaturity, then you end up being the one who takes the loss. Okay? And so I don't want for you as the beginner to go into something that has been compromised and degenerated just to accommodate your liberal ideas, right? I think you can handle it. I think that if you understand from the beginning that this is a conservative tradition and you understand what the conservative values are, then you can determine whether it's for you or not, or you can determine to what extent you are ready, willing, and able to practice it. And because it's not an all or nothing deal. Or if you can't do all of this, then you can't practice it. It's no one is going to treat it that way. None of us in the tradition are going to treat it that way. It's just a question of you making the decision of how deeply you want to commit to it based on the reality of what the tradition truly is. So that's my, 6-minute breakdown of traditional conservatism versus liberalism. And I hope that, it sparks some conversation and we can continue to grow and develop together. Aboro aboye. Abo shishe.